Good evening, Public Works and Transportation Committee Chair and committee members. I am Steve Howlett, Assistant Director in Public Works, and this item is the Parks and Landscape Maintenance Update. Recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council receive a report on the Parks and Landscape Maintenance Plan, provide input, and direct staff to either, there are two options for level of service here. Number one, identify funding to support improving the parks and landscape maintenance at a base level of service. Base level of service includes weekly mowing of the parks, monthly mowing and trimming of the parkways and medians, annual grid pruning of the trees in the parkways and medians of the arterial streets. It is anticipated that this will cost an additional $2,980,000 annually. Or option two, identify funding to support improving parks and landscape maintenance at an enhanced level of service. The enhanced level of service includes all the items listed in the base level of service, with the addition of grid pruning all the trees within the parks and daily trash removal and janitorial services within the parks. It is anticipated that this will cost $800,000 annually. In addition to those two options, identify funding to repair playgrounds for $485,000. Identify funding to renovate sports fields and amenities for $549,000. Identify funding to increase water budget as well as funding for turf reduction projects for $592,000. Identify funding to renovate the gateway monuments for $140,000. So as a little background, in the interest of time, there have been some cuts for the Parks Division over the past few years. The most notable cut is the 12 grounds workers were eliminated in fiscal year 19 and 20. Current staffing of the Parks Division is 42 full-time employees. This includes the admin and the management staff. Because of this small amount of staffing, we are only able to mow the parks monthly and do maintenance in the parkways and medians once a year. And trees are only maintained as needed. So following the passage of Measure E, Council established priorities for the use of these funds. Priority number 2 is to restore regular maintenance of the parks, parkways and medians, trees, and improving the gateway monuments. In order to achieve priority number 2, staff set apart and established some goals. And these goals are to restore proper maintenance for the landscapes, trees, and amenities, provide equity of service and conditions across the city, analyze the most effective cost measures to deliver services, and eliminate the deferred maintenance and work to become proactive instead of reactive. So as a discussion, let's talk about parks mowing. Staff is recommending that we contract out the parks mowing services for $800,000 a year. By contracting this out, this will allow staff to not only oversee the contractor's performance, but provide daily trash pickup, not only in the parks, but in the city streets, inspect and repair irrigation systems, inspect and repair playground equipment, do building maintenance. This includes the restrooms and the concession buildings, make any repairs to the hardscapes, install or replace signs, inspect and test lighting, repair and install new fencing, and clean and maintain the parking lots within the parks. Playgrounds. Currently in the general fund parks, we have 35 playgrounds. All 20 playgrounds that have FIBAR, which is also known as the wood chip safety surfacing, needs to be replaced. This will cost $135,000. And in addition to that, most of the playgrounds within our parks need some level of repair. For these replacement parts, we are requesting $350,000. However, there are 5 playgrounds that need to be replaced completely for an estimated cost of $4.6 million. This is contained in the current proposal for CIP. If approved, the replacement of these 5 playgrounds will include rubberized safety surfacing, ADA improvements, which also includes the sidewalks leading to and ramps going into these play areas. And also the play areas will be all-inclusive. Park sports fields. So the ball fields and turf improvements, we're requesting $255,000. Additionally, we're requesting $294,000 for parks amenities. This will replace benches, bleachers, backstops, and drinking fountains. We're also requesting to increase the water budget by $532,000 for healthy turf, but this is also funds for the potential water restrictions. If water restrictions are put in place and tiered rates become the norm, then most likely there will be a significant increase in water costs. However, as part of both the base level of service and the enhanced level of service, we have included turf reduction program that is able to receive up to $60,000 in rebates per year. So let's talk now about the parkways and medians. Staff is recommending that we contract out the monthly maintenance of all the parkways and medians in the arterial streets throughout the city. This will come at an estimated cost of $1.5 million. We have broken this into 3 separate contracts to ensure that the work will be done simultaneously throughout the city, not just beginning at the north end and working their way south. Also, as part of not included in the parkways and medians, but one of the extra asks is for $140,000 to renovate the gateway monuments. If received, the staff will work with the Community Services Commission to come up with a design to enhance these entry monuments. However, included in both the base level of service and enhanced level of service is $158,000 for materials and supplies for the irrigation and landscaping of the medians and parkways. Just like with the mowing of the parks, by contracting out the maintenance of the street medians, staff will be responsible for overseeing the contractor performance, as well as trash cleanup that falls beyond the monthly maintenance done by the contractor, regular irrigation inspection and repair, sign installation and replacement, light inspection and testing, and installing and repairing fences. So the trees. Staff is recommending that we contract out the grid pruning of 6,660 trees that are in the arterial street, parkways, and medians. Just like with the monthly maintenance of the medians, this will be done in 3 separate contracts to once again ensure that this work is being done simultaneously. We anticipate that this work will be completed within 6 months at a cost of $600,000 per year. Additionally, in the base level and enhanced level of service, staff has requested an increase of $200,000 in on-call tree services with our on-call tree contractor to handle any tree maintenance needs that are not within the arterial streets. So as a discussion further on the trees, currently in the city is responsible for just over 52,000 trees. Grid pruning of all these trees is not recommended because it'll be at a cost of $4.2 million. And currently we do not have a tree master plan. However, we're in the process of contracting with an arborist consultant right now to look at our current tree standards, look at neighboring city tree standards and statewide tree standards, and come up with a master tree plan for the city. With that plan, we plan on providing a presentation to council probably in the fall. And if adopted, we will use that plan to put together a budget for our citywide tree maintenance. So the next steps, again, develop the master plan for the citywide tree program based on the consultant's recommendations. Develop a city landscape plan for replacing parkway and median landscapes, preferably more drought tolerant. And in addition to that, we need to develop a water efficiency plan to reduce water consumption through turf reduction, low water use landscapes, and smart irrigation controls. So as a summary of the options, again, we have the base level of service, which is the weekly mowing of the parks, the monthly mowing and trimming of the parkways and medians, and the contract grid pruning of all the trees within the parkways and medians. Again, this comes at a cost of $2,980,000. Then we look at the enhanced level of service, which is everything in the base level of service. And then with the addition to that, we have the trash removal in public spaces for $200,000, the grid pruning of the trees in the parks for $325,000, contracting out the janitorial services in the park restrooms for $300,000. So the total cost for the enhanced level of service is $3,805,000. And as a summary of what we discussed before, so the renovation of the sports fields and amenities combined, those are $549,000. The repair of the playgrounds is $485,000. This does not include, of course, the $4.6 million that we're requesting in the CIP for the replacement of 5 playgrounds. The water budget increase in turf reduction, those combined is $592,000. And the renovation of the gateway monuments for $140,000. So altogether, these total $1,766,000. So the financial impact. There is no direct financial impact to receive this report and provide input. Depending on the input and final recommendations that are approved by City Council, the following impacts may occur. The funding allocated for the base level of service of $2.98 million, or funding for the enhanced level of service at $3.8 million. In addition to that, there can be funding allocated for the repair of the playgrounds for $485,000, funding allocated to renovate the sports fields and amenities for $549,000, funding allocated to increase the water budget and turf reduction projects for $592,000, and funding allocated to renovate the gateway monuments. So this concludes the staff report, and staff is available for any questions. Thank you.